النصوص وقوله وهو الغفور الودود.
That's
He has
it.
said, and do good, indeed Allah loves those who do good. And He has said, act equitably, indeed Allah loves the equitable. And He has said, so long as they are true to you, be true to them, indeed Allah loves those who keep their duty. And He has said, truly Allah loves those who repent, and not those who care for cleanliness. And He has said, say, O Muhammad, to mankind, if you love Allah, follow me, Allah will love you. And He has said, Allah will redeem a people whom He loves and who love Him. And He has said, indeed, Allah loves those who fight in ranks for His cause as if they were a solid structure. And He has said, He is the forgiving, the loving.
Next.
وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما ورحمتي وسعت كل شيء كتب ربكم على نفسه الرحمة وهو الغفور الرحيم فالله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين. And His saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, He has said, our Lord, you comprehended all things in mercy and knowledge. And He has said, He is merciful to the believers. And He has said, my mercy has embraced all things. And He has said, your Lord has prescribed for Himself mercy. And He has said, He is the forgiving, the merciful. And He has said, Allah is better than anyone at guarding, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy.
Next.
قوله رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ومن يقتل مؤمنا متعمدا فجزاؤه جهنم خالدا فيها وغضب الله عليه ولعنه. وقوله ذلك بأنهم اتبعوا ما أسخط الله وكرهوا رضوانه فلما آسفونا انتقمنا منهم. وقوله ولكن كره الله انبعاثهم فثبطهم. وقوله كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. He has said, Allah takes pleasure in them and they in Him. And He has said, whoever slays a believer intentionally, his reward is hell forever. Allah's wrath is against him and He has cursed him. And He has said, that will come to be because they followed that which angered Allah and shunned that which pleases Him. And He has said, when they angered us, we punished them. And He has said, Allah was adverse to their being sent forth and held them back. And He has said, it is most hateful in the sight of Allah that you say that which you do not.
Next.
قوله هل ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر. هل ينظرون إلا أن تأتيهم الملائكة أو يأتي ربك أو يأتي بعض آيات ربك. كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا 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 وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا ويوم تشقق السماء بالغمام ويوم تشقق السماء ويوم تشقق السماء بالغمام ونزل الملائكة تنزيلا. He has said, will they wait until Allah comes to them in canopies of clouds with the angels? Then the case will have already been judged. And He has said, are they waiting to see if the angels come to them or your Lord Himself, or some of the signs of your Lord? That day signs of your Lord will come. And He has said, nay, when the earth is pounded to powder, then your Lord will come and the angels will come rank upon rank. And He has said, a day will come when the heaven and the clouds will be rent asunder, and the angels will be sent down in a great descent.
Okay. The reason I ask her to read all these verses, because all these verses are just one group. So let's go back all the way to where it started. All the previous verses talk about one category of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes, which is Sifatullah al-Dhatiyya. The sifat, the quality and the description of Allah that is dhati. Dhati, it means that He always that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala possess them and have them, and they are not conditional to His will. So it's not like something when He wants He do it, when He will He do it, and He doesn't will He do it. It's not conditional with His will. So He always have the knowledge. It's not when He wants He have knowledge, when He wants He doesn't. Like so everything we just mentioned earlier, it has nothing to do with, it's not conditioned to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, he's talking about all these attributes that you heard her reciting are conditional to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He does it when He willed it. He applied to people who He wills it. Who He will. So He doesn't apply to everybody. He not applied to every actions. He applied to certain action that He wants, or He willed it. Certain people that He willed it. Certain time that He willed it. But not all the time. So it's connected and conditioned to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first one is what? وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ وَأَقْسِطُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ. Inna, just for those who likes Arabic kind of tips, inna, if it comes after fi'l amr, it's called ta'liliyah. So what comes after it is an explanation or why for what is before it. So if I give an order, then I follow it by inna. So what's after inna is the why for why this order been given. So aqsitu, why? Because Allah loves al-muqsitin. Ahsinu, why? Because Allah loves al-muhsinin. So ما بعد inna, إذا سبق إن فعل أمر تكون ما بعدها تعليل لما قبلها. This is something that علماء البلاغة or علماء الدescriptive tafsir mention. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. This is the key point here, the attribute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does He loves every single actions? No, He loves certain action. Like what? Justice, qist. Okay? Like He loves what? Ihsan. Being generous, being good, being kind to others. That's right? That's right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves certain actions, loves certain people, like He loves the muttaqeen. Inna Allah yuhibbul muttaqeen. He loves the people of taqwa. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves at-tawwabin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves al-mutatahhirin. Al-mutatahhirin, the one who purify themselves. Purify themselves spiritually and physically. Okay? So that's why one of the reasons we say the mu'min always should be pure, should always be what? Clean, should always be in a good, with no najasa on him or her, to try to purify themselves all the time. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. Allah loves those who follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So those who don't follow the Prophet sallallahu, Allah doesn't love them, or their love is not giving to them. Okay? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِهِ صَفًّا. Allah loves those when they fight for His sake, they are basically like one line. That means unified. Okay, so Allah loves unity. He loves to see us unified. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. يَأْتِ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمِ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. Those who are willing to give and sacrifice for the sake of Allah are the people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Okay? So here, then He followed that with another description of Allah, which has the same meaning of love, which is Al-Wadud. But Al-Wadud is the loving Lord. Al-Wadud, there is extra meaning than the love. فيها معنى زائد عن الحب, which it means التودد. يعني not only that He loves and He is loved, He also try to love. يعني He take that extra step towards you. He's so loving Lord. Someone that you can easily love. Someone easily can love you. Because some people, like even Al-Wud also is a stronger tie, stronger terms to describe love. Love has many different levels. Like you have love, you have khulla, which is the highest one ever. That's why al-khulla is the highest level of love. That's why Ibrahim and Muhammad are Khalilur Rahman. Some people said Ibrahim Khalilur Rahman and Muhammad Habibur Rahman. That's wrong. Muhammad is Khalilur Rahman. And Nabi Sallallahu said, he said Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if I would have taken anyone Khalil, it would be Abu Bakr, but I am Khalilur Rahman. And al-khulla in Arabic language, it means a state of love that can be only given to one. But since Allah is not like us, He given it to two. So the only two from all humanity, from all creations, that reached that level are Ibrahim alayhi salam and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That both are be giving that level of love. So that's another expression for the same concept, which is love. And it's interesting that Allah said, Al-Ghafur Al-Wadud, the loving, forgiving Lord. Because you might think, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you wrong yourself by doing all these sins, okay, you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will distance you, He will not love you. But what if I repent to Allah? Will He still love me? Allah said He's Ghafur and Wadud. Yani He forgives and He will continue to love. So don't ever think that just because they made a sin, that it means you lose His love. It's not the case. Because sometimes when you do something wrong to someone, even if He forgives you, He will not love you again. Khalas, we got separate. Everybody goes his own way. Allah's not like that. When you repent to Him, when you come back to Him, He will love you subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can the believer in the same time receive a love and anger? Or love and not loved by Allah at the same time? Yes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't love from you the sin, but He loves from you the good deeds. So let's say you didn't pray Fajr. He didn't love that from you. He didn't like that from you. But you know what? You wake up and you prayed, you made it up. He loved that action from you. So love is just not a whole lump sum given. No, it can be divided. Okay? And love is levels, as you heard. Then he said, then the author rahimahullah brought another type of action, which is also conditioned to his will, which is mercy. Whomever He wants, He granted them their mercy, His mercy. And whomever He wants, He might not give them His mercy. Like the kuffar in the hereafter. They go to the hellfire. There is no mercy in hellfire. That's the anger and the punishment of Allah. The disbelievers, for the disbeliever. So whomever He wants, He grants them mercy, and whomever He wants. Sometimes the mercy being granted, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them mercy by accepting their deeds, by forgiving their sins. For no reason. Somebody commit a whole entire major sin, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it's forgiven. My mercy just will accommodate you. Even that person never said any astaghfirullah, nothing. It's up to him. But that guarantee for everyone? No. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is so massive, so big, so huge, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَرَحْمَتِي وَسِعَتْ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. My mercy will reach everyone, everything. And because of that, Allah gave Himself a name out of it. He named Himself what? Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. But if you notice, Allah didn't name Himself what? Al-Muhib. We don't have a name out of the love, that Al-Muhib. Why? Because the Mahabba is a smaller circle than the Ar-Rahma, Wallahu A'lam. Ar-Rahma is much bigger. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expressed that by giving Himself a name of it. So the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the greatest things. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made Ar-Rahma into 100 levels. One of them have been sent into this dunya, and 99 kept for the Day of Judgment. So every single mercy that you see in this world today is the result of that 1%. 1% here and 99% kept for the Day of Judgment. Can you guys share with me the type of mercy that we see in life today that reflect the mercy of Allah? Huh? The mother for their child. How many mothers exist in the world? Since basically day one until the end. All these loves and mercy of the mothers, they are part of that 1%. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, not only that, and the mercy that the wahsh liwaladiha, وَرَحْمَةُ أُمِّ الْوَحْشِ لِوَلَدِهَا, the mother of the wild animal towards their Babies. Have you seen the tigers, this, aggressive, scary animals, baboons and these they're very aggressive animals. How you see when they cuddle their babies? You see, wow, is this the same one? That mercy that Allah put it in there, the wolves, the one who will kill, the hyenas, the one who have no mercy. When it comes to their children, they have so much mercy. That mercy that you see, out of that 1%. What else? Between spouses. What else? Between people and humanity. What else? The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how merciful He made His religion. How merciful He is with us. We sin and we ask forgiveness and He forgives us in this dunya. That's part of the 1% still. Every mercy that we receive in this dunya from Allah, Muhammad is one of that 1%. Rahmah lil alameen. Everything is just part of that. Can you imagine how much mercy left? If everything in this life is part of that 1%, can you imagine the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment? It's just unbelievable amount of mercy waiting for us there. Why? Because as much as this is make me so excited and feel like so comfortable, it terrifies me too. Allah kept it that much because that needed for surviving in the Day of Judgment. Because the amount of things that you will be asked about, the detail of the records of your deeds that this will show, it's just also unbelievable. Amount of people who will come and will be standing before Allah, they need that mercy. So here we say that the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just unbelievable. Arhamur Rahimin, the most merciful. And there is every one of Allah's attributes and names. I don't want to go into details on the names. That should something highly I recommend you take the course of Shaykh Ammar if you didn't do it. But he talk more of this than this kind of setting, or it has a special course for it, which is we go in every name. Every quality. You should always look into what it means and the impact, the athar of it, the impact of it. One thing I want to mention. الصفات الفعلية, the actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the descriptions of Allah. When we describe Allah with His actions sometimes can directly link to Him. So Allah yarham, Allah He grants mercy, so it's directly linked to Him. And sometimes it is linked to His creation, then the creation linked to Allah. I couldn't find any better way in English to express it. In Arabic it's very simple. We call this maf'ul lillah, but I don't know how that sounds in English. So here we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes tell us this only in the fi'li sifat, only in the actions of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will express His action by referring it as to one of His creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say about the rain that this is Allah's mercy. The mercy of Allah is not the rain. The rain is an entity. That's right. Al-Jannah is Allah's mercy. Al-Jannah is an entity. The mercy is a quality. It's a description. You understand? You understand? Yes. So here, it doesn't mean that Allah's mercy is Jannah. No, Allah's mercy is rain. No, but this is the way in Arabic language. الفعل يطلق على المفعول. So basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the result of His mercy is Jannah. The result of His mercy is the rain. The result of His mercy is the mercy that in the heart of the mothers. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَلَقَ مِئَةَ رَحْمَةٍ. So that means the outcome of the mercy is a creation, is not the quality of Allah. The quality of Allah is the mercy, but the outcome of that mercy is one of Allah's creation, which is either Jannah, rain, the mercy that you have inside your heart, the Silatul Rahim, and all this kind of stuff. Okay? And it's like Allah's anger, or when he hates something, or he angry at something, you say this is also the athar. The outcome of it is what? Is the hellfire. The outcome of it is the punishment, is the distraction, like the flood of Noah. Like, this is basically the destruction of the people of Ad and Thamud. These are the athar al-fi'l. يسمون مفعولات الله. Anyway, so and this applies to the actions of Allah, أفعال الله سبحانه وتعالى. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. They are pleased with Allah and He is pleased with them. That's very interesting. They are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. It's very nice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving both sides, even though we're nothing to say, oh, I'm pleased with Allah. Who are you to say, I'm happy with you. And you have no value as a human. But Allah see you very, very valuable thing. That's why He mentioned you, that you love Him and He loves you. And this is one thing I love about these verses. These verses shows that we dealing with the Lord who basically respond to us. It's not like a love from one side. It's not like, you love Him and He loves you back. You're pleased with Him and He's pleased with you. He's pleased with you. You call Him and He responds to you. SubhanAllah, it just make you feel like you interacting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here He mentioned the rida, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being pleased, and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being pleased with the believer. Again, He is pleased with the believer. He's not pleased with the disbeliever. He's pleased with the good deeds that you do. He is displeased with the kufr, displeased with your sins, but He's pleased with your good deeds. Also then He said, وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. Whoever killed a believer intentionally, his reward is a hell forever. Forever here, خالدا فيها, forever here, it means for a very, 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 very long time. Otherwise, we know that unless the person believes that killing people is halal. If somebody believes that killing people is halal, is allowed, that's kufr. That take the person out of the fold of Islam. But if someone kill innocent person, Allah promised that person that he will be forever in hellfire. It means for a very, very long time. Because then the worst sin in Islam is to kill a human being. The worst sin in Islam, to kill an innocent person. There is nothing in Islam worse than doing this after kufr. Okay, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said those who kill an innocent soul, basically they are in hellfire خالدا فيها. That's it? No. وغضب الله عليه ولعنه. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry. Allah's wrath and anger is against him. And He cursed him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that will include also killing your own soul. Killing your own soul, killing your own self, committing a suicide. In the hadith in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, whoever consume poison, whoever يجأ نفسه بحديدة, stab himself, فهو يجأ نفسه بحديدته في النار خالدا مخلدا فيها. في الحديث قال وهو يحتسي سمه في النار خالدا مخلدا فيها. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the Prophet ﷺ said, those who consume poison or stab themselves, samurai style, those who kill themselves, they are in hellfire doing the same thing forever. Which it means here, forever. You might find some of ulama al-tafsir, and some of the fuqaha said that, subhanAllah, to show you how serious this business is. They said, some of ulama Ahl al-Islam said, there is only one sin beside kufr can make the person stay forever in hellfire. And they said that, killing your own soul. And they said this because of this. But that's opinion, even it was said by Ba'd Ahl al-Ilm, mentioned by some of the scholars, but it is a wrong opinion. Because the absolute clear, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to refer al-mutashabih min al-ahkam ila al-muhkam, al-mutashabih min al-nusus ila al-muhkam. Whenever you see ambiguous verse or text, you refer that and you take this and you understand it in the light of the explicit one. The explicit one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ. The very explicit that Allah will not forgive shirk, will not forgive kufr, but He forgives everything else other than that. So based on this rule, we understand for hundreds and hundreds of evidence, and some of them we'll talk about later, that the major sins does not take the person out of the fold of Islam. He's still a Muslim, no matter what major sins that this person did. Okay? But killing one's persons, kill himself or kill others, it is a sin that might lead to a very long term of punishment in the hellfire. May Allah protect all of us. Then he said, فَلَمَّا آسَفُونَ انْتَقَمْنَا مِنْهُمْ. آسفونا, as Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu an Abi said, يعني أغضبونا. When they made us angry, we basically punish them. ولكن كره الله بعاثهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was adverse to their being sent. Adverse. كبر مقتا عند الله. The most hateful thing to Allah. So all these actions, we don't give a name from it to Allah. We don't say Allah is the hateful or Allah hates and stuff like that. No, He hates this action. He hates the sin. He hates this. He's angry at this sin. Okay? Because these are only limited to these actions and they are not the nature of God. But it is one of His qualities, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then another group of verses came, which is also has to do with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does it when He willed it, which is هَلْ يَنظُرُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَأْتِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظُلَلٍ مِّنَ الْغَمَامِ. So basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, well, they wait until Allah comes. So the action here that Allah comes. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes in the day of judgment, He comes, He descends in the day of judgment. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ. When your Lord comes. Some people said, oh, Allah doesn't come. Why? They said, because if Allah comes, it means He moved from one place to another place. How would you refute that? Huh? Come on, man, you guys have a better response to that. Huh?
He doesn't come how we come.
When someone tell you He comes, it means He move from one place to another place. That means He start talking about how, kayf, how He moved. We don't know how He moved. We don't know how He comes. That's you are making Allah like us. You're saying that Allah, the way He comes, look the way we come. And you make that tamthil in your head. That's why you're saying what you're saying. But we know that Allah comes. How? We don't know. Al-kayfu majhul. Al-kayfu ghayru ma'qul. We don't know how He comes. But Allah said that He comes, He comes. Full stop. We don't go beyond that. Is that clear? The same thing. Some people said, no, He doesn't come. What comes is the angels. How come that the angel? Allah said, when Allah comes in a canopy of clouds and the angels. So when the angel comes and the angel comes, what kind of weak language is this? قالوا يعني يأتي أمر الله. When the order of Allah comes. All this twisting to the meaning is basically a result of it because they couldn't accept the verses the way it is without going into how. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا وَيَوْمَ تَشَقَّقُ السَّمَاءُ بِالْغَمَامِ وَنُزِّلَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ تَنْزِيلًا. And the day will come when the heavens and the clouds will be rent asunder. So what this has to do with the quality of Allah? Because why the heavens will be asunder? Why it will be broken? Because of the descending of Allah. The angels keep going through the heavens day and night. They didn't break the heavens. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends, the heavens will come down below Allah. will be basically asunder, to show because of the fear and the respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are all these verses related to basically to the quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which has to do with Him doing things according to His will, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, we're gonna read the next. I mean, I need a brother. Yes.
So when we're talking about the love of Allah, can someone ever know for sure if Allah loves them?
Can we know that Allah loves them? There is a sign, shows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Like one of the signs they said, see, if you love the Quran, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. If you interested in salah and qiyam al-layl, if you wake up in the night, and that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. There is this man walk into the market, and he saw this very skinny slave girl, and he felt so bad for her. He thought her master treating her very bad, so he decided to take her and to purchase her and to take care of her. So when he took her to his house, he provided food for her. Next day she said, no, I'm fasting. Second day she's fasting. So he said, I know now why you are so skinny. It's not because somebody else preventing you from food. It's because of the constant siyam and fasting and ibadah that she had. So he said in the night she came and she woke him up, him and his wife. Hey, wake up, pray. Then he told her, listen, don't come and knock my door again in the night. قال أنا حمار بالنهار جيفة بالليل. He said, I work like a donkey in the morning, so I need to sleep like a dead person in the night. So don't ever come and knock on my door again. Go. Then he said, I felt bad that I was mean to her. He said, then I walked to her room, or wherever she is, and I found her praying. And I found her saying, Ya Allah, thank you for the love that you have for me. Then I said to myself, what an ignorant girl. Because usually in that time, usually a slave, someone like that, will not be educated, maybe just new Muslim even, or non-Muslim, whatever, or Muslim, but she's not, have no education, or so he didn't know if she is really means what she's saying or not. Then he said, how can you say that about Allah? But he's arrogant. And he said, how can you say that Allah loves you so much? How would you know that Allah loves you so much? Then she said, the one who woke me every night and allowed me every night to stand up in the night praying to Him and make you sleep every night, didn't make me wake up and enjoy salah and make you sleep unless He loves me. I wouldn't be granted that fadl, that honor, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves me. He was in tears and he said to her, you are free for the sake of Allah. You don't deserve to be a slave. You're a free woman. She went and she was crying. And he said, woman, why are you crying? I thought I free you. You should be happy. She said, I was so happy and I thought that's how happy I am from the minor freedom. So how I will feel when Allah says that you are free from hellfire, the major freedom. حينما هذا عتق الأصغر عتق الرق فكيف بالعتق من النار. When Allah said you are free from hellfire, that's the grandiose kind of freedom, you know. Rahim Allah. These people are just amazing. This is like, yes.
My question is actually an extension of hers. So conversely, how does one know they earn the wrath of Allah, or they're not in favor of Allah?
One of the things that the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the things that you should always respond to, when you see a lot of things, one of the things that you should be there is nothing to guarantee, there is a sign. You know what sign means, guys? Sign, they do not necessitate what they are signed for. Does it make sense? Does that make sense?
No.
No. So signs are just, they don't necessitate what they are signed for. Sarah, what is the sign for the rain? Clouds. What else? Humidity. What else? Wind. What else? Huh? When you go to the street, what will be a sign that it was raining? Water on the road. That's right. She came up with, is smart like her father. She came up with four things: clouds, wind, and wet floor, and humidity. Okay? Question. Can all these four exist and it didn't rain? Yes. So signs do not necessitate what they are signed for. That's just so one of the sign of good ending to die on Friday. But you know what? Maybe Trump will die on Friday. Okay? Who knows? You know? It doesn't mean that this is a good sign of it. It's a sign. They don't necessitate what they are signed for. Okay, so what I'm saying is, so don't ever judge. This is a sign of su'ul khatimah. Somebody die while he's committing a sin. Don't judge the person. Maybe he died while he's doing a sin. It doesn't mean that he's in hellfire. It's just a sign. We hope and we fear. So one of the signs of Allah's wrath and anger, that the person find himself, that always things goes against their way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the sinners and the wrongdoers, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. That always their life is usra. All their life is not smooth. Things just going every time wrong in your life. There's everything going, against you. Even when you see the light in the tunnels, it is the train. So, everything just going against you. There's nothing like everything just go bad. That person, when he sees this in his life, you know what? That person needs to step back and to say, Ya Rab, there is something wrong it looks like something wrong between me and you going in life. I need to repent. I need to check. I need to review myself. That's why among the way of Ahl Sunnah, they said, every time a calamity strike you, you go to Tawbah. You go to Tawbah. Why? Because it says, فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ. It is because of the result of what you earn with your hand. أَوَلَمَّا أَصَابَتْكُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَدْ أَصَبْتُمْ مِثْلَيْهَا قُلْتُمْ أَنَّ هَذَا. When a calamity strike you, and you did worse than that, you saying, why this has happened to us? It is because of what your hands earned, Allah said. So I'm not saying all the time this is the case. Because of that, the right attitude for the believer, not when calamity strike you, you said, oh Allah, I want to raise my level in Jannah. No, Habibi. You say this if you are on the bed of your death. If you're about to die. Yes, Allah want to raise your level in Jannah. But when you are still like young and you stand on your feet, when bad things happen, you said, oh Allah want to wake me up. There is something I need to fix in my life. Then the first. You went and you checked, nothing wrong. Alhamdulillah, everything. I give everybody his rights. I never done injustice. That we can talk about. Allah want to raise your level in Jannah, make you purify, double your reward. But the first step is to review yourself. Well, the wrath and the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is basically, one of the things is sinning. Is the person continues sin and with no wake-up call. It just, you know what Ibn al-Qayyim said? The worst thing about sin, because sin means you're not worth something in Allah's eyes. So that's the worst thing about sin. Because if you are worth something, Allah would have protect you from it. But Allah left you to yourself. The shaitan, which is the very weak influence, إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضعيفة, the very weak influence. So that means you have to be way more weaker than the shaitan for him to play you around like that. And that's one of the things that you worry that you may gain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath and anger. Also, sometimes the wrath and anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it could comes in a form of a mass like punishment, but not almost all the time. So don't make connection. You know what? I hated it when people came and said, the tsunami that hit Indonesia, the tsunami that hit Philippines, the tsunami that hit in Jeddah, that's the wrath of Allah. How do you know? Maybe it's not. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to demonstrate something else to us. It's not. That's wrong. And some people do stuff like that. That's not allowed. You speak on behalf of Allah, that's not allowed. I remember in Jeddah, somebody, Khatib Jumu'ah, said, the hurricane or the flood that came and destroyed Jeddah, that's wrath from Allah, that's anger of Allah. And I told him, Habibi, the only area flooded in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, is the area of the poor people. All the rich, corrupt people, nothing happened to their palaces. Go to the north of Jeddah where all these corrupted, I know some of the worst things happen in these places, not touched. So don't tell me the poor guy, the mechanic shop, and the poor people, they are the only one get Allah's wrath. This is just that you don't allow yourself, and I was very actually angry at this Khatib to speak that way. It's not your business to make that call. So remember, don't just, these are signs. Anyway, may Allah protect us. I want, before we go to the next group of verses, I want to discuss with you something very interesting, and it is a very linguistic base, and it's a key point to understand the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I heard you guys study Usul Fiqh. Anybody studying Usul Fiqh here? What is the last chapter you guys studied? Istihsan. Okay, good. So, have you guys studied something called, al-Zahir wal-Mu'awwal? Not yet. Okay. Have anybody heard this term before? Al-Zahir wal-Ta'wil, Haqiqah, Majaz. Okay. There is a lot of people who study Usul al-Fiqh don't understand that we have four different things are completely different from one another. A lot of people mix them together. Al-Zahir, that's one. I will tell you what that means in English a little bit. Al-Zahir, but you have to bear with me to understand the terms. Al-Zahir and Al-Mu'awwal, that's one chapter. Then you have Al-Haqiqah wal-Majaz, that's another chapter. A lot of people mix between Al-Zahir and Al-Haqiqah and Al-Majaz and Al-Ta'wil. They are completely different subjects. You cannot mix between them. So what does these four words means? You ready? So, al-Zahir, it means the apparent meaning. So when I say something, what is the apparent meaning? That's the meaning that comes to your mind first. The obvious meaning. Okay? That's al-Zahir. Okay? At-Ta'wil, when I say something and I don't mean the obvious meaning, I have a hidden meaning. Okay? Or a meaning that is a little bit not the first meaning that comes to your mind. Okay? Is that easy to understand? Okay. So for example, if I say to you, I am an American, what would you understand from that? I'm an American citizen. I'm white. Okay. Okay. So I'm an American citizen. Okay. I am basically an Egyptian. Okay. That means my root from Egypt, or I have. That's right. Do you understand that I'm Egyptian because I love Egypt? That's not the obvious understanding. I have some friends in Malaysia, for example. They tell me, I'm Egyptian because I love Egypt. I study in Egypt. I'm Egyptian in the sense that I lived all my life and I studied in Al-Azhar there. So I'm Egyptian in that sense. But that's not the obvious or the first thing that I can think of. That's right? Unless there is qarina. Unless there is something clearly show me that he is not an Egyptian. Like, for example, if I see a white guy or a Malaysian guy, which is very clear he's a Malaysian, or, a Hispanic guy, Hispanic will fit in, but, a Hispanic that very clearly, or African American brother, who clearly I can know he's not an Egyptian, he tell me, I am an Egyptian. I understand that not necessarily that he is from that race, but he means what? He's Egyptian by love, by race, whatever the case, that's right? So, al-Zahir, it is basically the obvious meaning. Al-Mu'awwal is when you don't mean the obvious meaning, okay? But you have an evidence, you have a proof, you have a side evidence to show you that the obvious meaning not meant. I tell you. Guys, that day I saw a lion. What did you understand? Yeah, I saw a lion, that's right. The animal, that's what first thing come to your mind, that's right. Okay, if I say, I'm going to test you right now. If I say, so that's the obvious meaning. I'm going to hold on to this example because I have to explain to you the other part. The other part is al-haqiqah wal-majaz. Al-haqiqah is to use the word for what is originally it was made for. And al-majaz is to use it for not what is originally what is made for. Okay? Again, you only go to al-majaz, you use it not for what is originally it was made for, if you have proof that what is the original meaning of the world is not meant. So if you twist, if you make ta'wil or majaz without proof, that's playing games. That's cheating. That's tahrif. That's distorting the meaning. Okay? That's not what we talk about. You have a proof that this is not what this word originally meant for. Here in this majaz business, there is a huge debate between the scholar of languages. Is there anything it called the word originally made for that? So you will have a whole entire debate. Lion. What's lion referring to? The animals. Who said that? They might tell you, who told you that the word lion originally meant to describe that animal? Maybe Asad, lion, originally meant to describe something strong. And because they saw this animal so strong, so they give it the name lion. See this philosophical debate? It exists in Arabic language. And we'll go back, some people said, oh no, the names are given by Allah when He taught Adam. Allama Adam al-asma. So it means He gave Adam a names. So that means originally these are names we give him. But this whole entire arguing, you know what? I want you to take a break from it. Because I'm not going to into this. This is a whole entire interesting discussion. If you take any course in the history of languages and stuff like that, it's very, very interesting topic to study. And one of the good brothers who have some done good work on this, a brother by name is Nader from Summit, remember? He gave a lecture about that. He's a physician from your city, Winnipeg, from Winnipeg in Canada. Anyway, so going back to the point, I will assume that I will take the position of the vast majority, which is the word has original. It originally meant to, lion originally meant to refer to the animal. Let's take that, which is many scholars agreed upon. Okay? Just to simplify it for you. Class, or guys, I'm used to the rule. Okay, guys, so here we say, so al-Zahir, it is the obvious meaning. But al-Haqiqah, it is what this word originally meant to represent. What is it meant originally for? These are two different things. Okay? That's right? I give you the example of what I just said. If I tell you, lion a word originally meant to describe the animal. Can I say, this night, this man is a lion? Can I say that? Yes. It means what? He's a brave, he's a strong. That's right. It's acceptable. That's what you call majaz. You listening? Majaz. طيب. Here we say, if I say, I saw a lion, or I say even, I saw a lion in my last visit in the zoo. Very obvious that I referring to what? The animal. That's right. So al-zahir and al-haqiqah there. That's right. But if I tell you, I saw a lion in the middle of the battlefield, fighting the animal, the brave man. So what is here? There is ta'wil or al-zahir. What is the first meaning come to your mind? That there is what? A man. Nobody ever will understood that this is an animal holding a sword and fighting. So the obvious meaning is the majaz here. Is that clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? So here we say, if we understand this, nobody ever can basically say that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, says that the ship of, nobody ever will say that the ship of Musa, of Nuh alayhi salam, was running in Allah's eyes. Nobody will ever think that it was literally running in the eyes. The zahir, the obvious meaning, it is running by the protection and the watch of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nobody can say, oh, this is ta'wil. There's no ta'wil. That's al-zahir. That's the obvious meaning. Yes, it is not on al-haqiqah, but it is on al-zahir. It's like when I say the lion fighting on that's al-zahir, but it's majaz. So you can have majaz and al-zahir. Al-zahir is the obvious, the first meaning that comes to your mind. Is that clear? Is that clear? طيب. If we start playing this game, and I tell you, you know what? Whatever I say, it's not the obvious meaning meant. And I never give you hint, I never give you evidence that I didn't mean the obvious meaning. Very good. Would that be a guidance? No. Would that be a huda? Would that be a mubin, clarity? Would that be shifa, healing to your problems? When I play these games with you, when I start giving words and you said, oh, you mean this or you mean that, all of them ambiguous. Could be, oh, for example, I said, hey, let's go to the zoo. I'll see you in the zoo today. You go to the zoo. Oh, I meant Iman Academy. Why? Because it looks like a zoo there. Okay? It's like kids, like, you know, everybody happy. Sorry, I couldn't think of a better example. Okay. Okay. Huh? Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Is that a game? Is that acceptable? Sorry, Iman Academy. But my point, forget about Iman Academy. You know what? Is that a what kind of talk is this? When I say I'll see you in the zoo, then he said, oh, I meant the zoo like, hey, Clear Lake Islamic Center. Because it's like a zoo, kids all over the place. Is that acceptable? No, that's absolutely wrong. Can you imagine people saying that exactly what Allah He's doing with us when He tells us about His names and attributes? He tells us that He created Adam with His hand and He wrote the Torah with His hand, but He didn't mean that. He wants you to think of something that is not it's way beyond the obvious meaning. When Allah subhanahu, I will come to judge between you. No, He doesn't mean He will come. It means Jibreel will come. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salam, when you come to Sinai, you know, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to him. No. He didn't talk to him. It's the tree talked to him. Yeah, but I didn't understand that. When he said, Allah talked, how come the tree talked to Musa? No, that's what it is. That's called ta'wil. That's called playing games. Yes, if there is a proof that the obvious is not meant, we agree. What's the proof? I give you an example. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah said to a man in the Day of Judgment, O son of Adam, I was sick and you didn't come to visit me. When you hear I was sick, what's the first come to your mind? Sickness. I was hungry and you didn't. That's why the human being would say what? He will take the obvious and he said, Ya Rab, how can I visit you? How can I feed you? It doesn't make sense to me. So he basically took it. Then Allah told him what he meant by that. He said, my servant was hungry. My servant was sick. So you have an evidence that is not the obvious meant. Allah Himself clarified that. That obvious sometimes can be in the same text, sometimes by other texts. Okay? Like for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say in the Quran that He has hands as multiple, more than two in Arabic language. Aydina referred to more than two. Did it mean more than two hands? No. Something, the obvious meaning it is more than two because He said plural. Yes, but there is another evidence shows us that He has two hands, which is biyaday, two, which is in Arabic language it means only two. Cannot be three, cannot be one. So you have another evidence to show that this apparent meaning is not meant. Is that clear? So the whole mess with these people who didn't follow the way of Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah, they claimed that they have evidence that Allah never meant the obvious meaning of the word mercy, love, anger, wrath is not meant. Talk, so what's their evidence? They said because logically, if you say He loves and He has mercy, mercy is weakness. Anger, it means losing control. Hate, it means a negative feeling. Talking, it means needing tongue. And because of these meanings are evil and bad, we cannot say that Allah has this. So what we have to do to figure out another meaning to it. Did you get it? Yeah. But we say to them, that's your problem. Who told you that Allah's anger or hate or love or mercy is like this? Did you see where the debate comes, where the misguidance happen? Nobody comes from bad intention, but it's just a bad practice, a bad methodology. And I hope this will explain to you a little bit of why there's people going this way and why we say, we take the apparent meaning unless a lot of Ahl Sunnah sometimes, especially those who have no knowledge, they tell you ta'wil is rejected. No, ta'wil is correct. Majaz is correct as long as there is evidence behind it. Otherwise, it's not the nature of the Arabic language. The nature of the Arabic language, that when you speak, the apparent meaning and the haqiqah is meant, unless you give indication that is not meant. Like I tell you, I saw a lion in the battlefield. So in the battlefield, an indication, I saw a lion carrying a sword, riding a horse. So these are indication to show you that I meant a figurative speech. It's a metaphor. But other than that, you cannot say it's a metaphor. Because if you open this door without evidence, you open the door that everything became metaphor. That's why there is people said Allah Himself is a metaphor. There is people say Jannah is metaphor. Hellfire is metaphor. Jibreel is a metaphor. And among the people who opened that door to the max, a very famous physician in Islam is named Ibn Sina and Al-Farabi. And all these they basically have no limit. That's why they said Jibreel, there is no such thing called Jibreel coming down and angels carrying a message and Muhammad heard voices. That's an imaginary things. That just Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was trying to tell you that he is so powerful in his imagination that he imagined an angel. So, is there Jannah? There is no really Jannah. It's all figurative speech. There is no really hellfire. So that's why Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, if I forgot to mention that, well, I'll say it now. Ibn Taymiyyah followed the chapter of As-Sifat with the chapter of the Day of Judgment. Because the way you go straight in Allah's names and attributes, you go straight in the Day of Judgment. If you open the door of Ta'wil and the Batiniyah, you just go all the way in. And it is very scary to go, because al-qawl ala Allah bighayri ilm is so wrong. To say and to claim things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which is not true is absolutely unacceptable. So this is one of the principles that I hope I explain it to you. You keep it in your mind, that every statement, the words, we have to take the obvious meaning unless there is a proof that the obvious is not meant. We keep the word according to what literally are meant for, unless there is a proof that they are not meant. The basic, unless there is a proof that it is metaphor. Otherwise, we should accept it the way it is. And you know how Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book, everything they take it in the book. They don't say take it literally. And that's where literate people came from. One of the things that they always make fun of Ahl Sunnah, they said they're literate, literate, zahiri, literate, but as if something bad. That's something good, it's not bad actually. But what is bad? When you're literal, but you deny the existence of metaphor. You deny the existence of, that it's not necessarily to be literal. But you have to have a qarina, you have to have what? A proof. So if someone said Allah created 7 heavens, and someone said, oh, it's figurative speech. Oh, what's your proof it's figurative speech? If he said 7, it means 7. 7 layer of the sky. I don't know how it looks like. If somebody said, oh, because also you open this door, some people extend this to the rules of Islam. You know what? 5 daily prayers? Who said 5 days daily? It meant you need to occupy your time with salah. So it means all over the day. If you open this door, there is no limit to it. And the whole religion became a mess. That's why Ibn al-Qayyim said, it is one of the tawaghit that has destroyed the deen. One of the taghut that destroyed the deen al-Islam. And through history have people said that. Have went that far. I will have break, inshallah, for 7 minutes and we'll come back, inshallah. Yeah, 7 coins. Oh, no, I have some. No, I'm good. I have no snacks. Sarah, are you? Sarah Basyouni. Sarah.
Shaykh Waleed, just a quick question.
Sorry?
He's tied with one other player.
You can come back here.
Did that come as a response to Aqeedah?
or approving these or accepting these descriptions of Allah will make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala similar to His creation. Okay? So, who's going to read from the brother's side? 11. Go ahead, Ibrahim.
وقوله you pull this up?
Hit it up, hold on to it to the screen. Now it's on. It's on. It was on. Hit it again. It's on.
The microphone's not working. So we'll just
Okay.
وقوله ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام وقوله كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه.
Can you guys hear him, all of you? You can follow also in your book.
وقوله ما منعك أن تسجد لما خلقت بيديك وقوله وقالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة غلت أيديهم ولعنوا بما قالوا بل يداه مبسوطتان ينفق كيف يشاء. He has said, only the face of your Lord of mighty and glory will remain. And he has said, everything will perish save his face. And he has said, what kept you from falling prostrate before that which I have created with my hands? And he has said, the Jews said, Allah's hand is tied. May their hands be tied, and may they be accursed for the blasphemy they utter. Rather, both his hands are widely outstretched. He gives and he spends as he pleases.
Next.
وقوله واصبر لحكم ربك فإنك بأعيننا وقوله وحملناه على ذات ألواح ودسر تجري بأعيننا جزاء لمن كان كفر وقوله وألقيت عليك محبة مني ولتصنع على عيني. He has said, wait patiently for the command of your Lord, for verily you are in our eyes. And he has said, we carried him on an ark made of planks and nails. It floats under our eyes as a reward for him who was rejected. And he said, I have maintained you with my love that you might be reared under my eye.
Next.
وقوله قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى الله والله يسمع تحاوركما إن الله سميع بصير. وقوله لقد سمع الله قول الذين قالوا إن الله فقير ونحن أغنياء. وقوله أم يحسبون أنا لا نسمع سرهم ونجواهم بلى ورسلنا لديهم يكتبون. He has said, Allah has indeed heard her who argued with you, O Muhammad, concerning her husband, and who complained unto Allah. Allah hears the argument between both of you. Indeed, Allah is hearer and the seer. And he has said, verily Allah heard the saying of those who said, Allah is poor and we are rich. And he has said, do they think that we do not hear their secrets and their private counsels? Indeed, we and our messengers, indeed we do, and our messengers are by them to record all.
Next.
إنني معكما وقوله إنني معكما أسمع وأرى. وقوله ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى. وقوله الذي يراك حين تقوم وتقلبك في الساجدين إنه هو السميع العليم. وقوله وقل اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. He has said, indeed I will be with you, hearing and seeing. And he has said, is he then unaware that Allah sees him? And he has said, who sees you when you stand up to pray, and sees your movements among those who fall prostrate? Indeed, He and only He is the hearer, the knower. And He has said, say unto them, act, Allah will see your actions, and so will His messenger and the believers.
Very good. So these verses, if you pay attention to them, they have what we call a physical descriptions of Allah. So love, mercy is a type, one kind, knowledge, life. This basically a type of attributes and description of Allah. But these are more of physical description. Face, hand, He sees, He hears, He basically, what else He mentioned? بِأَعْيُنِنَا. And He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am with you, seeing it, hearing it, looking at. Okay? So these are a physical description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah, so many of these kind of physical descriptions are widely accepted in the early stage in Islam, even among for a group like the Ash'aris, like Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, for example, and the early Ash'ari and Maturidi group, Ash'ari especially, they used to accept these sifat, like al-Bayhaqi, al-Baqillani. Only the later ones who came later on, like al-Razi and al-Juwayni and al-Ghazali, those the one who start rejecting these kind of, or making ta'wil, basically for these attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they said it's a metaphor. It doesn't really describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this. But it is commonly accepted in the early time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He has face, period. How His face looks like, we don't know. Because we don't know how He is, we don't know how His attributes are. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that only the face of your Lord, okay, is only the face of your Lord of might and glory. That's a very bad translation. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I just looked at it wrong. Only the face of your Lord of... Okay, help me guys here. Abdul Jalil, help me. Might and glory is a description of what? In the translation you have here.
Power?
Come on guys, in the translation that you have.
Lord.
It's a description of the Lord, that's right? So I read it correct, I understood it correct in English. That's right? So that's a bad translation. That's actually wrong translation. Not bad, that's wrong translation. Because I would assume might and glory is al-jalal wal-ikram. Al-jalal wal-ikram is a description of what? The face, not the Lord. Who said the face? Very good. Why? Because dhul jalali wal-ikram is a description of the face. If this is a description of the Rabb, it will be what? Dhil jalali wal-ikram. تصير مكسورة. ويبقى وجه ربك مضاف إليه الاسم. So ذي الجلال والإكرام. But ذي الجلال والإكرام, ذو الجلال والإكرام goes to وجهه, which is مضمومة مرفوعة. So that's a description of al-wajh, description of the face, not a description of the Lord. Al-Jalal wal-Ikram is a description of the face. And that one of the reason we say that Allah has a face, because He described His face that it has Jalal and it has Ikram. What's Ikram mean? Yani perfect, absolutely perfect. Kareem, it means someone who is absolutely perfect. That's why Allah said about the throne that is Kareem. Allah's throne is Kareem, which it means the perfect throne. Okay? Dhul Arshil Kareem, that the throne is Kareem, it means very perfect. So why we call generous people Kareem again? Do you know why? You know why we call generous people Kareem? Because generosity cover all bad things and make you look perfect. That's why we call generosity Karam, Kareem. Because whatever you have, it will be forgotten just because of your generosity. That's why the Arab call this Kareem, because this quality cover everything. But originally the word Kareem, it means Al-Karam معناه في اللغة التمام والكمال. So his throne Kareem, not because the throne is generous. No, the throne is perfect. أعوذ بالله العظيم أصل الله الكريم أصل الله العظيم رب العرش الكريم أن يشفيك. So the throne is Kareem because the throne is perfect. So here we say ذو الجلال والإكرام, يعني the face of Allah has this basically perfection, have this jalal, might, respect, have this beauty in it. And that's why you cannot just say that he doesn't have a face, because since the face was described with two qualities, that means it exists. So the obvious meaning it is exist. Okay. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ. What's the verse before this verse? Anybody remember? كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. Just a fa'idah في التفسير. You know, Al-Sha'bi rahimahullah, he said, you cannot stop at fan. You have to connect the two verses together. He said, don't ever said, كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه رب. He said, that's wrong. You should read it, كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. Why? الشعبي, and I think جمع من التابعين كانوا يكرهون الوقف عليها. You know why? They said because destroying الفناء ليس مدح لكن الإفناء مدح. That's what he said. He said that him saying everything will perish, there is no perfection on this. Everything will perish. But the perfection comes when you say that Allah will remain and everything else He will make it disappear. That's a perfect meaning. That explains why Allah will make the whole world perish. Why He will make this world come to an end. To show you that He has no end. That Allah is the only one who always remains. That's a great quality. So that's why He used to say, don't stop and fan. Anyway, going back to this. So when we say Allah's face will remain, only the face of your Lord will remain. طب anyone here, anyone in this group will ever think that only the face will remain and the rest of Allah will perish? Nobody ever has a mind will ever think that. A'udhu billah. That's right. So if somebody tell you, oh, make ta'weel, there is no ta'weel. The obvious meaning that Allah's face here means Allah's face and Allah, the entity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no ta'weel, because some people said, oh, this is ta'weel. There's no ta'weel here. That's called majaz. That's a type of metaphor in Arabic language. That's how the Arabs talk. They mention something and they mean the whole thing. So in Arabic language I said, I saw his face today. What that means? I saw him. That's right? Hey, you show me your face here. Don't show me your face again. So you cover your face and you come and it's like, that's taking literally الحقيقة. No, that's not what it meant. Obviously الظاهر من الكلام واضح. That's why I'm always frustrated with people who come to, oh, there is ta'weel in Quran Sunnah. There is no ta'weel, that's a dhahir, that's the obvious. You don't understand what a dhahir means. That's the obvious meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He remains and everybody else perished. Okay? But that means that Allah has a face. Otherwise He would not describe Himself with a face. Also, كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. Everything will perish except his face, again, except himself. The word wajh in Arabic language, it could mean the wajh, which is basically the attribute that you're familiar with, which it comes from ما يواجه به الشيء, which is the something that you face people with. Basically the thing that basically you face, like your face, you say you have a face. Why we call this wajh? Because you face people with, you basically, it's the front thing in front of people. That's why when we say is rinsing, those who follow me in explanation of Bulugh al-Maram, when we explain Bulugh al-Maram. Anybody listen to Bulugh al-Maram here? Okay, Bulugh al-Maram, when we teach online or on site, if you want, one thing we say, is rinsing the mouth part of washing the face? Some of the ulama said no, because inside your mouth is not something that you face people with. So it's not part of the face. While other people said no, washing the mouth is part of the face because your mouth, your lips, part of your face, who you're facing people with. So this whole argument here. So for example, people said beard. The beard is the hair that grow in the face. Okay? So that means, if you ever see me, some people see me and say, Shaykh Waleed, you trim your beard. I don't really trim my beard. But what is it? Sometimes what I do, I shave, or I take that part here. So I didn't take it for a long time. So that part here, which is on the neck here, you see this part? Is this part of your face? No. The face is this. Is what you face people with. So that cannot be part of the lihya, not linguistically. Because the lihya is what basically grow on your face, what you face people with. But here, that's not lihya. That's not the beard. Okay? So, and so forth. So this is basically, so the face, it could also means the al-jiha, the direction. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wherever you face, there is the face of Allah. It means the direction to Allah. Okay? So al-wajh also in Arabic language comes to know that it's the face of Allah. So that lead to the direction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You might say, Shaykh, isn't the obvious meaning, the apparent meaning said, any direction you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there, or this is the direction of Allah. Yeah, but we know from other evidence that Allah above His throne and above the world. So we know that this apparent meaning is not meant. Okay, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all the, but it means here, anywhere you look or the direction you go, that's the direction that lead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not the obvious meaning, but we come to this non-obvious meaning. This is ta'wil because of the evidence, that other evidence that we have. But again, there is rules in Arabic language. You cannot, I don't know if this applies in English or not, but in Arabic, okay, you cannot use a metaphor for something unless that thing possessed that quality originally. Does that make sense? Okay, so for example, I cannot use the face in a metaphor way unless you have a face. I cannot use hand in a metaphor unless you have a hand. You understand? So for example, له يد علي, he has yad, it means he has ni'mah, he has favored. You know, give me a hand in English. What that means? Help me, give me strength. So hand represent what? Strength and power. That's right. But I only say this because you have a hand. In Arabic language, I cannot say give me a hand if you're a wall. You know, unless, so that means لا يتجوز لموصوف بصفة إلا وله منها أصل الحقيقة. That's how the Arabic language works. So that's why we say that thus, yes, it is a metaphor here, but also it indicates that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala originally have this quality, that the face, the hand and so forth. So even when we say Allah's hand above their hands, yeah, literally is not above their hands. But the obvious meaning understood, Allah aid and support. But because Allah has hand, that's how He was described. Next.
You can't use a metaphor for something that you don't already physically possess.
Yeah?
You or the person you're addressing. The person.
The metaphor that it's referred to the person. So it's a, yeah. Yeah. Next. What is, so here we go next to basically be the same thing, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the eyes was mentioned one time as a single and one time as plural, but nothing in the Quran ever referred to Allah as two eyes. The concept of two eyes came only in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And to be honest with you, it's not very explicit. It is implied. By what? By hadith in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, "Ad-Dajjal a'war wa inna rabbakum laysa bi'a'war." Ad-Dajjal is one-eyed. One-eyed a'war, it means a person who have two eyes and one of them lost. You cannot call something that is born or exists with one single eye a'war. Let's say there is some fish I have seen, okay, have only one eye. We don't call that fish a'war. A'war at one eye. In Arabic language it doesn't work. So one eye, it means someone has two eyes but lost one of them. So when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ad-Dajjal is a'war, because he lost one of his eyes, and Allah is not. So that the ulama said, imply that means Allah has two eyes. And there is one narration, Bayna aynayillah. There is people when they stand in the salah, they are standing before Allah's two eyes. And the author will mention this hadith later on. I'm not very big fan of the authenticity of this narration. And usually when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descriptions, I like always to be confirming the area that which is not 100% clear. So I think it will be the right thing to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has eyes, and best, we stop. There is no need for going into the detail, it is only two, or has eyes, that's it, as He's described Himself. Full stop, and we move to the next. Yes. The next one, that Allah heard, okay? And this is interesting. Like, yes, most of the sects and groups believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hearing. Okay, that's why one of the people that the late Asha'irah and Sifatiyah, they didn't accept the eyes, they didn't accept the face, they didn't accept the hand, but they accepted as-sam'u al-basar, they accepted hearing and seeing. And these are physical descriptions. So Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah brought this to tell you that you should be consistent. As you can see, Allah sees and hears in a way different than us. Also, He has a hand different than us, He has a face different than us. So it's a consistent method. Okay? And one of the things also He mentioned, لَقَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّتِي تُجَادِلُكَ. Allah heard the woman who was arguing with you, Muhammad. Because one of the things that some of Ahlul Kalam have, that they say, Allah heard everything in the past, before this voice even existed. Which it makes no sense. Okay, so they said Allah heard these. It's basically Allah knows that this will happen, but the hearing of the voice of this woman when she talked to the Prophet happened when she was talking to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So He was telling them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears things when it happened, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything. He hears the whispers, He hears the secrets, He hears the out loud words, everything. He hears what pleases Him and what's not. So He hears them when they said, Allah faqir, Allah is poor, and we are rich. He heard them when they say everything. إِنَّ أَمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّا لَا نَسْمَعُ سِرَّهُمْ وَنَجْوَاهُم. They think that we don't hear their secrets, their whispers, and they're basically talk, najwahum. How he translated that? Let me see the word that he chose. Here's private counsel. Okay. Bala, nay, we do. وَرُسُلُنَا لَدَيْهِمْ يَكْتُبُونَ. Our angels, the messengers here, the angels. Angels are writing and documenting this. It's interesting that when it comes to, because as-sam' represents the knowledge of Allah. We read earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alimun bidati as-sudur. Allah knows what's inside the heart. And also He hears the secrets. So the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything of our action. Then after that He said, إِنَّنِي مَعَكُمَا أَسْمَعُ وَأَرَى. I hear, I see, I look at. الَّذِي يَرَاكَ حِينَ تَقُومُ. He sees you when you are standing up. When you're making sujood. Again, it shows you that the action of Allah happen while the actions of the servant happening. So it's not something happened in the past. It is Allah knows about it in the past, but He sees it when it's happening now. He hears it when it's happening now. And this is something some people didn't accept. And he is mentioning it. He said, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا. Do whatever. Here, i'malu is a threat. It's not an encouragement. Allah threatening the hypocrites. He said, do whatever you want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger and the believers will see your action. Unfortunately, today, so many Muslims put this verse when President opened a grandiose opening of a big project in the country. They said, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَ اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. So some people think that this verse, it means do whatever you want, Allah proud of you, seeing your deeds. Actually, the verse is a threat to the hypocrites. The verse is complete the opposite. Allah Akbar. Anyway, it just show you how ignorant some people are of the Quran. We'll end here. We end here. We'll go pray and come back, shall we?